Leo's insights are presented to challenge, inform, and encourage you in your quest to break free from school-based approaches to education. Building upon a foundation of unschooling, we sincerely hope these insights help you to consider how education can be truly unlimited.
Blogging is interesting, to say the least. It is an opportunity to share my views with those who may be interested in them. This means that I am never really sure who my audience may be. That makes at least my blogs a bit of a gamble. Not only am I not really clear on who's taking notice, learning, or perhaps being offended by my efforts, but there is a question of how to best make them available. Blogs can be unrelated to one another or delivered as a series following a particular theme. I tend to favor this latter approach to blogging, as most topics usually require a few installments to be properly addressed. However, it is probably not a good thing to split series up with breaks, such as Christmas. This means that we sometimes need a few blogs to bridge a gap. The next few blogs are a bit of a mixture of different things that I trust you will enjoy. You are likely aware of the fact that I spent 25 years as a classroom teacher, mostly at a high school level. A lot of things can happen in 25 years. I'm sure you will believe me when I tell you that I have many a story to tell. I have two I would like to share with you. I'll tell you one today, and the other one will just have to wait till next week. Well, let's just say that even the best teacher has bad days, and students likewise can make rash decisions that put them in a real bind. One day, a grade 12 student decided to call me a bad name in the last class of a day on Friday for reasons I'm still unsure of. His dad was the chairman of the school board, so perhaps he thought he had some clout, who knows. In any case, I promptly removed him from class, and he promptly called his dad. As soon as the class ended, the principal was at my door asking whether I had kicked this child out of class, to which I answered in the affirmative. Pale with fear, the principal announced that Bob, the chairman of the board, was on his way, and he was mad. When I suggested that he send Bob to speak with me directly, the frightened principal readily agreed. I may not be a tall man, but I'm not really intimidated by those who are. Both the father and the son towered over me, an observation that was not lost on the son, who sprawled out in a desk anticipating the imminent slaughter of the small one. After brief introductions, Dad got right to the point of asking me if I had indeed kicked his son out of class. I could see why the principal had been so fearful of this fellow, as he did portray a bit of an aggressive posture. I admitted to the charge, then politely asked if I could get some clarification respecting this issue. Bob concurred. Then I asked what he would do if his son called him a son of a bad word. He replied immediately with an answer that implied something akin to murder. I replied that I did not do that, but I had kicked him out of class. At this juncture, with Bob now glaring at him, the student's countenance completely changed from that of a blood sport spectator to being keenly aware that he may be in very serious trouble. Seeing that the power positioning had now changed, and before Bob could fulfill his threat to cause his 18-year-old son harm, I quickly took control of the situation and addressed the young man directly. I reminded him that he had publicly disrespected me, and that if he was any kind of a man, he would rectify that with a public apology. Having saved him from whatever his dad would have done to him, and having given Dad a bit of a time to cool off, everyone left with handshakes and an intention to let the weekend put some distance to what had happened. Weekends come slowly and end fast, it seems, so we found ourselves back in class as usual. The last class of the day was about to begin when this same young man interrupted the beginning of the day's lesson. Over and over again. Honestly, I had put the entire episode from last week completely out of mind and was just a bit annoyed, but he clearly informed me that he had something to say. Before I could say anything or do anything, he then got up, walked to the front of the class, reminded his classmates of his indiscretions of the past week, looked me right in the eye, and apologized to me before the credulous looks of his peers. Two things happened that day. Although I was well respected by my students, they deepened their appreciation for me. And no doubt that young man grew up to be a well-respected colleague of his fellow students. I can imagine that this young fellow remembers me by name to this day. I doubt he remembers me for my awesome instruction in French 30, which was a subject I was teaching him. I'm sure he probably learned more from this experience than he did all year in the class. This lesson likely stuck with him. He probably long ago forgot his French. Life lessons teach us how to survive and thrive. They stick with us because there is a practical application to our lives. That is why we are far more likely to remember the times we got in trouble than what our English, math, and science courses were all about. Not that these things don't matter. It's that they are not as important. Home educators can zero in on these types of teaching moments.
We trust you were blessed by today's presentation. For more helpful information to guide you in your home education journey, please visit educationunlimited.ca and leogaumont.com. Be sure to like us and share us on Facebook.